Hello, this is Staying Alive with Anita.
And Kevin.
Yeah, we had a really exciting weekend and I'd like for you to come along with us. And so just stay tuned and you're going to see some really cool stuff. Okay, so you ran your first Spartan race this weekend.
Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. Was it what you expected it to be?
Yeah, I think it was everything I expected it to be. I mean, I picked a Spartan race because I knew it was going to be physically demanding.
Right.
And it was every bit of that.
Every bit of that. Yes. Well, you know, there were so many people there. On Sunday, how many people do you think ran the race that you ran?
Total on Sunday in the sprint, there were almost 4,000 people. There were like 3,800 people
Right.
total that signed up for the sprint.
Right. And the sprint is?
The sprint is the short course. That's the 5K, 3 miles, and 20 obstacles.
20 obstacles, yeah. Was there anything there that you didn't expect to be there?
The river run. We ran, and it wasn't actually an obstacle. It was just part of the course, but we ran almost a half mile in the creek river that was anywhere from ankle deep to almost hip deep on me.
That's
pretty steep banks, and so there were a few spots you could get out of it a little bit, but if you're out of the river that was rocky, you were running in the mud. So It was kind of a toss-up which was better.
Was the water warm or was it cool? Or?
The water was just a little cool, but at that point in the race, it actually felt really good on my legs. That cool water felt really nice. And
Right.
in fact, at one point, I was running, and there wasn't anybody right in front of me, and there wasn't anybody right behind me, and I had the banks on both sides, and it was really quiet, and it was really beautiful, and I'm thinking, this is so much fun. And then I'm wondering, who thinks that?
Who thinks that this craziness is fun? Well,
Yeah.
I think at least 4,000 people did that day.
Apparently,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. It seems to be something that people who are really wanting to be fit are doing. I didn't really notice people there to party so much. It was
No.
more people that were actually truly bettering themselves, ages from 14
Right.
to
Over 60.
over 60. And then there was even a kids spot. And I was so impressed that they had little bitty kids running their own special course set up just for them.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have had our kids do that when they were little.
Absolutely. And I think they started like 7 years old.
At least that. Some of them look pretty
Smaller than that.
short.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I don't know. But so basically throughout all of this, there were quite a few different types of walls.
Yes.
Starting with the wall that I walked up to start the race, and it hit me right here. So
Right.
you had to go over that wall to simply start. And if you didn't go over that wall, you had to do 60 burpees before you started the race. So essentially, I think everybody was going over that
Everybody
wall.
went over the wall.
Yeah, right. And then there were several other kinds that were, inverted and...
Yeah, there were, there was just kind of a beam about chest high. There were multiple walls from that height all the way up to 8 foot. We did do an 8-foot wall. There was an inverted wall, so it was a reversed wall that you had to climb up and over. There was a 45-degree angled wall that was just plywood with a rope, and it was immediately after a dunk, and a wall that you had to go under, fully submerged. So it was pretty slick.
Right.
And then there were the cargo net style walls, both the A-frame and a straight vertical cargo net.
So a lot of climbing over things.
Quite a few walls.
Right. And you were very confident about one of the walls, right?
Yeah, there was a Z wall too.
Right,
that was a more of a rock climbing style wall. It had 2x4s mounted on it, and it was exactly like it sounds like, shaped like a Z. And it was the first obstacle after the river, and it was just right out of the river. So I came out of the river and I saw it, and I was really confident and ran up there and jumped on it. Made one move with my foot, and as soon as I picked up my second foot, my front foot just slid right off that wall. I hit the ground, and I looked at the obstacle course marshal that was there, and he said, "Yep, you owe me 30 burpees." So that was my first of 90.
Set of 90, at least 90.
A little over 90, right.
Because they were told at the first of the race, I heard him telling them this, these were counted, and you had to do 30, and you had to actually jump at the top and then go down into a push-up and put your chest on the ground, and then get back up and jump again. And if you didn't do the full thing and you didn't do the full 30s, you could actually you were penalized for that in your time. So they suggested to do extra each time, just in case you happen to have one that was a little off.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it.
And I did extra at all 3 stations.
Yeah, right. So anyway, so then after you did that, and you had a little bit of an issue with that, then you did end up getting to do a rope climb, which you'd worked on that, right?
Yep,
Right?
there was a rope climb. I did that. That went really well. We had practiced that, and the technique that I worked out for that with my feet, with the shoes that I had on, really paid off. I don't think I would have been successful on that. And again, there were quite a few people there doing burpees, and I was not one of them. So I'm really pleased with that.
Yes, so you did that well. And then a little bit further along, we've also practiced that spear throw thing too.
Yep.
But I believe they've changed that, and it's a little different than kind of what we were practicing, maybe.
Yeah,
and
I don't know if it was the distance. The target's
something.
definitely different than it has been in the past. And I don't know if it was farther than what I had expected or what, but I didn't see anybody complete the spear throw.
Yeah, I even heard people talking about it. And then after that, then you had to actually go underwater? Or was that before that?
That was after that, for the rope climbing, the spear throw.
Right. So there was something to where you had to go about a foot underwater.
Right.
In really what was cold
water.
Yeah.
It was suck your breath away, cold water when I jumped in. I had to stop and for a second before I could go under.
Didn't inhale any water?
No, I didn't. I was good, but it took me a minute to catch my breath from jumping in that water, especially at that point in the race. I was pretty warmed up.
Right. So then what did you end up doing right after you went under the water there?
Right after the water was the ramp wall.
Right.
So it was just totally slick.
Slimy.
Yeah. And covered in water from everybody traipsing through there. Right. And there were ropes on that, so honestly, for me, it wasn't that hard an obstacle. The secret to that's getting your butt way down so you put weight on your shoes.
Right.
And get as much traction as possible. So I made it over that wall really well.
Cool.
No
That's
problems.
Good.
I saw a lot of people, their feet kick out and their knees hit that board, and that didn't look pleasant at all.
No. And one thing that I hated about all of this was the fact that I couldn't get out there and take pictures everywhere that he was.
Right.
I mean, I guess I probably wouldn't want to run the 3 miles, but I would have liked to have taken pictures. But luckily, Spartan did take some pictures of some of the things. And a couple of those that we've kind of missed is there were several heavy carries. For the men, it was a little heavier than the women's.
Right.
But you had an Atlas ball, Which is?
Right. We had the Atlas carry, which is a 100-pound stone that you have to pick up, carry it a certain distance, put it down, do 5 mandatory burpees, pick it back up, and carry it back to the other side. It was a good distance that you had to carry that. And just getting that up off the ground, and that was really the challenge. So it was a little wet, it was a little muddy, it's round rock, and it's just heavy, dead weight.
Right, right. But then before you even got to that, you had to carry the bucket.
We had a bucket carry, which I trained for a lot here at the house, and the training definitely paid off. The difference was there, the ground we were carrying it up was not only uphill, but it was very rough. It was rooted, it was rocky, it was muddy, it was slick, it was a lot of maneuvering. It was not a straight, nice path to go up. It was definitely very rugged terrain that we were carrying the bucket up.
Right. And then right after that, you came up to the sandbag.
We had to do a sandbag carry as well, and that was extremely heavy, heavier than the bucket, heavier than the 60-pound sandbag I have here by far. Not as heavy as the 100-pound Atlas stone, but somewhere in between. And so I was able to get it on my shoulders. I learned something on that one, because when I first, again, started up that steep, muddy incline with that, I had the sandbag divided up and over both shoulders, but I let it come around. It was actually cutting off the circulation at my neck and pushing on my chest. And I didn't realize it. I was so focused on just one more step, one more step. Once you get started with that, you can't stop. If you stop, you're not going to get started again. You just have to drive yourself to keep going. Yeah. And about 3/4 of the way up, I realized what was going on. I got the bag back up on my shoulders. Yeah. And that not only made it seem lighter, but I could breathe again and got the blood flow back to my head, which was probably a good thing.
Right, to think to what to do next.
Yeah.
What to do next. So. And then it wasn't long after that, then you had to come back through the river. Mm-hmm. And you came around to where I could see you again.
Right.
Okay. Right. And then when you were doing that, you were coming up over the cargo net.
Came up over the A-frame cargo net.
Right, which is actually, it was the entrance to the games. Right. And it was really strange because when we were walking out, there were still people coming in and still people going over. Yeah. And it was like rain under there. You couldn't go through without getting wet because the cargo net was so wet from all the people that had already done it, and the people that were going over were soaked because they had just come through the water and everything. Yeah. So I didn't think about that when we started under, but I'm like, and I was trying to get out from under it. So,
but anyway. It was neat. The people coming out like us were coaxing the people going over on, and that was kind of the mentality through the whole race. Even though I was in a competitive class and you couldn't help each other, people were so encouraging. It was just constantly, everybody was, you got this, don't quit. In fact, there was one guy that was in my age group, or maybe even the age group older, that kept referring to us as graybeards. I'm not really sure where that came from.
Yeah, no, I don't have any idea. I don't get
it. Keep going, graybeards. You're doing good. Guy was very motivational, and it was a neat experience for that side.
I did hear a lot of people really cheering for each other, and saying, "You got this, you got this,"
right.
And it was competitive, but it was very supportive.
Yes.
Very supportive. It was a cool thing. So, and then once you came down over that cargo net, then
the Hercules hoist,
Hercules hoist,
which is a heavy bag again on a rope that you have to pull, and that thing, man, I was surprised at how hard it was to get that moving, and I'd never done anything like that, so it took me a little bit to figure out what to do and how to do it. Once you pick it up off the ground, if you let it down, 30 burpees, and this boy wasn't planning on doing any more burpees at that point.
Yes.
And so at one point I finally got wrapped around my arms, and I just leaned back, and at 172 pounds, I just slowly went down to the ground as it went up.
You really didn't have the leverage some of those heavier topped guys tended to have.
Yeah. But It went pretty well. I mean, it was
Yeah,
heavier
you
than I
did.
expected, but I got it up without any trouble. And then you have to lower it back down slowly too. You
Yes.
can't drop it, or 30 burpees.
Yes. And
And then there were 2 monkey bar type deals,
Right.
and we had worked on that a little bit. The rings was the first one,
yeah.
and that went really well. That was one of my prouder moments. I took a second and gathered myself, and everybody, I think, just about was doing burpees there. I saw a lot. I mean, that location was full, and I got to the last ring and I swung and actually missed the bell, but I didn't drop off of the ring.
Yeah.
I was able to get back on the ring, and I got myself swinging. I told myself, you're not just barely going to hit that bell, you're going to swing high enough, you're going to grab that bell. And
Have to be mental in a lot of this.
yeah, absolutely. I at that point, I'd come too far in that obstacle to quit at that point. And I got myself swinging. When I hit that bell with my whole hand. And I looked at the official there, and he said, well done. Because he saw me
I love
swing
it.
and miss. And I
Yeah.
don't think very many people missed and managed to stay on the ring at the
Came
same
back,
time. So I'm
yeah.
really proud of myself for having the mental fortitude to ride that one out and
Right.
complete it.
And then the last thing that you had to do
Last
to
thing
finish,
was the straight monkey bars, and I
and
hit.
they were that big around.
They were big, and they were
and
spread
wet.
way apart.
Yes,
and they
it was
were
raining
very
and it was
wet.
wet,
Yeah.
and,
and I thought I had that, and I got 4 or 5 bars in, and I made that next handhold, and it just, I mean, I went all the way to the ground. My
Yeah.
hand came off so
It's
fast.
really
So,
unexpected
yeah, it
to
kind of
come off
was.
that.
So
Yeah.
I was really disappointed in that, and that
Yeah.
put me in
Burpee
90
land.
burpee land, burpee land for
Burpee
my
land.
90th burpees.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. At least. And
I was pretty well done at that point. The last thing was to jump the fire, and I looked at that fire and I thought, I'm not gonna make it over. I ain't got nothing left in the tank. But I did. I
Yeah.
cleared it.
You did.
And,
You did very good. Very
Finished
good.
it, walked across, and
Yeah.
got a finisher medal at the
Yeah.
end, and my finisher shirt
Right.
for completing the Spartan.
You know, the thing is you could have gone out there and not put in as much effort, and you could have just sort of laid up a little bit, and on the things that were easier for you, you could have just taken it more easy, and you could have jumped the fire happily and not, and not
Right.
been as hard. But by the fact that you went out there to do your very best, no matter what, by the fact you were so tired when you got done and spent, that meant you gave it all you had.
I left it all on the course.
Yeah.
I didn't have anything
And
left at the
that's,
end.
isn't that why we do this stuff?
Yeah. Yeah.
To do our best,
Yeah.
to be our best.
How many times did you have to stop and do burpees?
90 burpees.
90 burpees, including the last 30. So you only missed 2 other obstacles?
Fell off the freaking seawall. We had the seawall as soon as we came out of the river.
Oh no. Right over there?
Half mile in the river. And as soon as we came up the bank, we went a couple hundred yards and then got on the seawall.
And your feet were wet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I went into it overconfident. I got this. Just blow this out and move on. You're gonna put some time on some people here. The second I moved my feet the first time, I let go of my hands, my foot came off. I hit the ground. I looked at the guys like, yep.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I nailed the rope climb. I smoked the rings.
And so out of all of that, you came out in the top 10%. And that, holy cow, for the first race, I am so proud of you. When you finished, we just had a big hug because it was amazing that you did so well. And
There was a lot of emotion at the end.
Oh yeah.
so-
And there still is.
Yeah.
It's such a great thing to accomplish something that you've worked so hard for, and with him doing it, and me loving him so much, I can be proud and be excited for him, and look forward to that next time, and maybe I'll sneak in and take a few more pictures. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed all of this. I we welcome any questions.
Any comments?
Yes, we'd love to
Absolutely.
hear what you
Well,
have to say. Have
like to
you
know
run
what
a
you
race? Yeah. Have you run a race? Would you like to run a race? You know, it was a lot of fun for us, and you know, I hope y'all enjoy the things we have to say. If there's anything else you'd like for us to experiment with and try,
Right.
you know, within, you know, reason, let us know. There's no reason.
Anything.
Yeah, let us know, and we will see what we can do. So subscribe to our channel, hit the little bell so you know when we've put up some new videos, and we'd love to hear from you.